Hi folks, Tris here, producer of Modem Prometheus. Thanks for listening to our show, and thanks especially to all of you who have joined our Patreon. We don't run ads, so the whole podcast is supported by you. If you'd like to help out, head over to patreon.com/Modem Prometheus. Members get free merch, early access, bonus episodes, and a lot more exciting stuff. Today's story is called Ingredients, and is about being yourself.
Jazz climbs up the tight staircase at the back of the bakery kitchen, walks through the small laboratory with its array of curious glassware and yesterday's bubbling distillate, and pulls down the ladder to get to the roof, where the sails twist gently in the breeze. They have been starched stiff, so even in the little wind that drifts across the early city morning, they do not sag. They are held into a set of almost sensual curves by an array of ropes and a wooden frame. Jazz wonders, not for the first time, how long it took Marjorie to set up. It helps that they are not actually sailcloth, but sateen bedsheets from John Lewis. Jazz had asked once why she hadn't used a length of cheap fabric from the local market. "Sure, you could do that," Marjorie had said, "if you don't have any sense of good taste." Marjorie's sense of good taste does not extend as far as the collection buckets, which are empty ice cream tubs from the supermarket. The sails are arranged to funnel into them the dew which condenses there every morning, trailing sweet and slick into the containers. Jazz swipes at the sails with a dust brush to loosen any condensate which hasn't yet fallen in. And just like every morning, marvels at the way it moves. Heavy, thick, a tiny avalanche. It looks like water, but it's much more than that. They've been getting more of it over the last year. Every morning, Jazz has been coming up, emptying the contents of the tubs into the bucket and bringing it down into the lab. She remembers it being a good day when it was half full. These days, she's thinking about getting a bigger bucket. She turns to carry it down to the distillation apparatus, and jumps when she finds Marjorie leaning against the doorframe, lighting what is probably her 7th cigarette of the day. "Much there this morning?" Marjorie asks. "Loads." Marjorie peers into the pot and sniffs. "It'll do." She holds out her hand for the pot. "I can deal with it," Jazz says. "I know you can, but I've got 5 dozen love and honeys that need folding, and I don't want to do it. I'll handle the frac dist. You can handle the dough." "Okay." Jazz tries not to let her disappointment show, and thinks she was mostly successful. "Bake immediately?" she asks. "Soon as they've proved." Jazz nods and climbs back down the staircase, Marjorie close behind. Today's theft will have to wait. The love and honeys are made from a sweet dough enriched with butter and flavoured with rosemary, kneaded once and proved for 2 hours to allow the gluten to activate and the distilled charisma to infuse. The dough is then knocked back, rolled out and cut into triangles, which are then, with a series of complicated folds, turned into hearts with a small well in the centre. Into this well is placed half a strawberry, cut vertically, and the rest of it is filled with jam. It is then left to rise for 30 minutes and baked for 20. The whole thing is drizzled with honey and scattered with toasted almonds while it's still warm. The rosemary promotes good health. Strawberry is good for decision making, and everyone knows that almonds and honey both ease rejection. But the bulk of the work is done by the distilled charisma, evaporating off people in the night, caught by the sails, condensed by the dawn, and distilled by Marjorie's complicated glassware. Not that anyone who comes to Marge and Tyler's knows this. They just think it'll make Sarah in accounts want to go on a date with them. It still impresses Jazz how much care Marjorie puts into her recipes when she could just stick a few more drops of charisma essence into a croissant and be done with it. "Nah," Marjorie had said when she'd mentioned as much. "You can't go all in on one flavour. Makes it a dull eat. Especially one like charisma or ambition. Bitter as a pissed-off chicory plant. Everything in that recipe does a job. What does the butter do? Kills you, eventually. Makes life worth living in the meanwhile. Jazz doesn't honestly think people would care that much if the recipes were bland if they did end up sleeping with Sarah from accounts. But it's not her business. Not her show. Marjorie can run it however she wants. It doesn't matter to Jazz. She pushes the love and honeys into the oven and sets a timer. She glances at the clock. It's 10 minutes to 8. Enough time to redo some of the labels which got covered in grease and icing sugar during yesterday's trade. Love and honey, she writes, in a careful, swirling script. There is nothing magic about this writing, though it feels it. A message you have drawn yourself rather than tapped into a screen and choked out by a printer. Beneath it, she adds, "Make your soulmate see who you really are." She places the label carefully where the tray of fresh pastries will sit. It's 8 o'clock, so she unlocks the door and smiles at the regulars who are already lined up outside. Trade is brisk. The love and honeys, out of the oven 10 minutes after opening, are gone in the next half hour. 2 of them, as always, are sold to the girl with the green hair. She says one is for her friend. Jazz does not believe that to be true. She wonders who the stubbornly resistant soulmate is. A man in a business suit with a pin reading "Fuck the government, I love you" on his lapel buys an orange donut, a few drops of sanguinity mixed in with the filling, a note that reads, "Calm the waters around you," and a coffee. No magic, just caffeine. Often better. A young man in a grey hoodie and a patchy goatee buys his regular go-getter Blackberry Danish. Heavy doses of work ethic and stubbornness. Manifest your dreams and destiny. Jazz cannot decide if he is a startup bro or a wannabe supervillain. Either way, the go-getter will help. They contain near-fatal doses of ambition. Enough to make a rhinoceros want an MBA. It's okay. Most of the ambition burns away fast after contact with reality. Lots of people buy chocolate twists. Make people want to be friends with you. Jazz shakes her head and thinks if all these people started a WhatsApp group, they probably wouldn't need the twists to begin with. Yeah, they would, Marjorie says, blowing out a cloud of smoke. They're in the kitchen. Marjorie does not care about smoke around the food, as befits a woman who has at least 90% nicotine. They're not good with new people is the problem. Bit of sociability, bit of shamelessness to damp down the embarrassment. Bit of extroversion. Just helps them to be more willing to break some ice. But they could just, talk a bit more. Oh, sure, of course. Why didn't they think of that? They could just have a different personality. Makes everything easier then. Marjorie rolls her eyes. That's not who they are, is it? Might as well tell them to be an entirely new person. They can't do that any more than you can decide to just go and be a size 10. Jazz frowns. I should check the next batch of bacon bites. Yeah, probably. She doesn't realise how hurtful she's being. Jazz reminds herself. It's not personal. She talks like that to everyone. Some of the customers even seem to enjoy it. She thinks it's why they come back. She idly thinks of slipping a bit of empathy into Marjorie's coffee, but there's no way she wouldn't notice. Marjorie doesn't eat any of her own enhanced pastries. Don't need to change, she says, without irony. I'm already better at being me than anyone else out there. It helps, to a degree, to know that Marjorie is just like all their customers, even if she pretends otherwise. No one wants to change. That's why the labels she writes all talk about how the world will change to better suit the buyer. They will get lucky. That other person will find them attractive. They'll be given a promotion. None of Marjorie's recipes will actually do that. Bob eating a love and honey isn't going to change anything in Sarah from Account's brain. What it will do is make Bob a bit more charming, a bit more kind, a bit more like the kind of person Sarah wouldn't mind seeing with his shirt off. But putting that on a label would imply that the lack thus far of Sarah-adjacent nudity was somehow Bob's fault, and that isn't good marketing. No one likes to be told they are simply made of the wrong ingredients, that they are the problem. Jazz remembers trying to explain this to Liam at one point. How he'd been more successful if he was a bit more outgoing, had a bit more ambition. He didn't have to be all work, no play. One of the first things that they'd bonded over was a let's play of RimWorld, and she still looks forward to laying in bed with him watching a streamer speedrun a retro platformer. But no one who does just what they need to do in the office to get by and then spends all their free time in front of the TV was going to get promoted. And if he had a bit more ambition, he could get paid more. Or maybe he could start a side business and they could make a bit more money that way. And then they could move to a bigger house, maybe with a garden where Jazz could grow herbs. He'd laughed it off. "Oh, babe, I'm happy where I am. You're happy where you are, right?" That was the problem. No one was interested in self-improvement. Good thing, she can fix that. She gets in to find Liam doing push-ups on the living room floor. Good. Progress. She has a short, happy daydream about what he'll look like with abs, and makes a point of visibly ogling him while leaning on the doorframe. 19, Liam breathes. 20. They take him a little while. Liam is no muscled Adonis. What was once a body made of bones and angles is now doughy round the edges, cushioning him from life's blows. But slowly, with repetitions and sweat, he is sculpting it into something more efficient. It's a new hobby, and he's surprising himself by how much he's enjoying it. "Hey babe," he says. "Work late?" "Busy day," Jazz replies. This is not entirely a lie. The bakery is always popular. Everyone wants their world to change. But it neglects to mention the busy work Jazz found until she could sneak into the lab and lift a few vials of charisma and ambition. She's tried distilling her own. Tiny sails made from handkerchiefs hung out on their tiny balcony. But it never works as well. "I feel that," Liam says. "Oh, FYI, I volunteered to help out on the Norwood accounts. Jane's sick, so they're running late. It'll probably mean a few late ones. Maybe a bit of weekend work." Jazz frowns. "Okay, but don't forget we've got Lemonade's party on Saturday." Lemonade is an old friend, turning 34 and still the only person either of them know who can get away with saying yo, unironically. Liam looks awkward. "Yeah, I know. I'll see, okay? This is the kind of thing that could really get me noticed by the partners." Jazz puts her arms around him. "Come on, babe. It'll be so much better if you're there." Liam rolls his eyes. "We both know what I'm like with parties. Me and crowds don't get on. Maybe this time will be different." "Sure. 527th time the charm." Jazz laughs. "Look, just come for a bit, okay? If you're not feeling it, you can tell people you've got to work and then go play with your spreadsheets." Liam sighs. "They are my true friends." "Thank you." Jazz nuzzles into his chest. "Right, I should cook something. You sure you don't want me to do it? Seems like you do it every day recently." "No, I enjoy it." "You finish off your workout." She bustles into the kitchen, turning to look over her shoulder with her best bedroom eyes. "I enjoy the results of that too." Liam laughs and moves on to sit-ups. In the kitchen, Jazz starts a curry. She's become a bit of an expert at them. The spice covers a lot of flavours, and it's easy to dissolve things in the sauce. She hesitates over Liam's portion. One of the first things Marjorie had drilled into her when teaching her recipes was that you had to be careful with the dosage. Little and often was what got results. That allowed the base personality time to adjust and assimilate. Too large a dose would provide extreme immediate results, but it'd burn off in a few days, and you'd have wasted most of the essence. Well, I want him to have fun, she thinks, as she pours half a vial of sociability into his masala. It works. When they arrive, Liam is all smiles and hugs a startled Lemonade. Jazz is no wallflower, but even she is impressed by how easily Liam picks up conversations and holds court with strangers. Right now, he's talking with Wendy, ticker tape, and a pretty redhead Jazz doesn't recognise, waving a beer around expansively as he makes some point. She can't help but be pleased with her results. The charisma, the ambition, the empathy she's been microdosing him on, it all adds up. Liam's becoming a different man. A very impressive man. Her impressive man. Yo, bitch. Lemonade appears with 2 glasses of wine. From the size of them, Jazz assumed she only poured them out because it'd be uncouth to put a straw in the bottle. I saw you were empty. Came to fill you up. Cheers. Jazz clinks glasses, carefully to avoid tsunamis overcresting the rim. So, Lemonade glances over to Liam, who is telling a story that probably involves spreadsheets. As he reaches the end, the redhead laughs and touches his arm. You and Liam good? Yeah, we're great. He's having a lot of fun today. I noticed. He's not normally a party guy, is he? I guess he's just feeling it today. He could be feeling something, that's for sure, Lemonade says, gesturing at the redhead. 10 quid, says she's got 2 more buttons open than when she turned up. Jazz laughs. She won't get anywhere. I trust him. We're going to go home and watch someone do a weird challenge on Stardew Valley, and he's going to forget he ever met her. There's a pause. So, who is she? Anna. Does something lawyer adjacent. She's explained it to me 5 times and I just tune out. Don't do shots with her, she will wreck you. Nice girl. When she's not putting the moves on your boy. The group has dispersed, but Anna is still talking to Liam, the hand having now found a permanent perch on one bicep. Liam says something and gestures over to where Jazz and Lemonade are sitting. Anna glances their way and then whispers something in Liam's ear. He laughs, awkwardly. Jazz takes a large drink. That was fun, Liam says, on the way home. He gives Jazz a squeeze around the shoulders. Thanks for dragging me out. Better than spreadsheets? Hey, I wouldn't go that far. But bits of that were almost as good as putting together a pivot table. His phone dings. Liam reads the message and smiles. It's from Anna, he says, in answer to Jazz's raised eyebrows. She was talking about this psychology lecture on nudge techniques, and I said it sounded interesting, so she said she'd send me details. It's on Wednesday evening, so I'll probably grab dinner with her. Oh, okay. That's all right, isn't it? Well, I would have asked if you wanted to come, but it didn't seem like your kind of thing. No, it's not. I didn't think it was yours either, to be honest. Nor is going to dinner with women, with anyone you've only just met, she thinks. I've been reading about stuff like that recently, Liam says. There was this book recommended on a podcast I've started listening to. You're into podcasts now? Yeah. Wanted to do something a bit more productive than watch dumb videos of other people playing games on YouTube. And I found this psychology thing and I thought it might be useful for how to get promoted. It's actually really interesting. He starts talking about it. But Jazz isn't listening. Instead, she's thinking about how she thought they both enjoyed those dumb videos and is wondering if maybe it's possible for there to be too much of a good thing. So? They are closing up. Marjorie's cigarette bobs up and down in her mouth as she speaks. What happens if someone takes too much of something? Like let's say they want to do well on a call or something, and they eat like 20 chocolate smiles. And then they're like, oh, this is too much. I need to tone this back. How do they do that? Is there some other ingredient or something? Marjorie snorts. That situation, the call's the least of their problems. They'll be dead of diabetes before it happens. You know how much sugar I put in those things? Sure, but I mean, how do you get some of this stuff out of someone? Marjorie stares at her for an uncomfortable minute. Jazz just smiles, awkwardly. Eventually, Marjorie says, "Let me show you." She brings Jazz to the kitchen and instructs. Flour, 500 grams, 15 grams of salt. That seems like a lot. Who's the expert baker and who's the naive apprentice? 15 grams, go. 1 tablespoon of yeast and throw in some caraway seeds, more than you think is sensible. Okay. 300 mils of water. Now get it in the mixer, we need a dough. They wait in silence while the mixer binds everything together. Marjorie gets through 2 more cigarettes in the time it takes for the dough to form. Okay, roll it out. Marjorie looks at the dough and slaps her forehead. Ah, damn it. You know what, you were right. Should be 10 grams of salt. Take 5 out. Jazz stares at her. What? 5 grams of salt, take it out the dough. But I can't. Marjorie stares at her, pointedly. No, you can't. You know someone who's thinking of eating 20 chocolate smiles, you tell them it's a damn stupid idea, not just for the diabetes. There's really no way of doing it. Jazz tries to hide how sick she feels. Marjorie glares at her and points at the dough. Do you know someone who's OD'd? She says. No. I was just wondering. Uh-huh. Marjorie does not sound like she entirely believes her. I knew someone who did once. Back when I was learning. Health and safety, not really a thing in those days. Jazz looks at the stub of Marjorie's cigarette, but what she says is, what happened? You ever know anyone with dementia? She sees Jazz's eyes go wide. No, not like that. It doesn't make them forget stuff. But this is all about changing who you are, right? And if you're not careful, you'll still be up and walking around. You'll know your name and your mother's dog and all that. But you won't be you anymore. Or more like you'll be a different you. And that's what happened to them. The person I knew didn't exist anymore. Someone else was wandering around in their meat sack instead. And they didn't even really realise it. She sniffed. I did, though. What happened to them? She moved away. Wanted a new scene. That's what happens when you shift like that. Stuff you used to like don't really do it for you anymore. She was probably fine, just, not her. Marjorie looks at the dough still sat on the worktop. Now, make another set of dough. 50% measures of everything you just did, but no salt. Mix them together and freeze it. We'll turn it into snaps. I'm not wasting a load of perfectly good caraway just to make a point. For the first time in a long time, Jazz is letting Liam cook. He's found a recipe for something complicated, involving roast pork and some kind of homemade teriyaki sauce. It's a far cry from fish fingers and potato waffles he would probably have thrown in the oven before. And what just a couple of weeks ago would have made Jazz warm with pride, now leaves her feeling like her liver is crawling up her throat. I didn't realise you were planning on being a chef, she says. Liam laughs as he spills soy sauce over the worktop. I am definitely not planning on that. Honestly, not even having that much fun just now. But I've never tried doing something like this before, and you might not let me cook again for another year, so I figured why not? Fish fingers next time? Jazz asks, hopefully. I might try making some hash brownies, for science. Then probably back to fish fingers. You want to try weed? I mean, anything once, right? Anna was saying I should smoke a joint with her. And I'm not sure about the smoking bit, but maybe she could come round and we could do edibles. Maybe it'll be fun. Yeah, maybe. The teriyaki sauce did not properly come together, and the vegetables Liam attempted to steam are underdone. The pork is good. Jazz picks at it, pushing food around her plate. She's trying to tally up everything she's given him. Every bit of ambition, confidence, charisma. How many vials has it been? How much of him has she changed? Liam is browsing on his phone, flicking the screen up idly as he eats. They're job ads, Jazz notices. Jobs in America. I'm just looking to see what's there, he says, when he notices her alarm. Would it be so bad, though? It'd be an adventure. But it's so far away. Yeah, honestly, that's part of the appeal. Liam looks at her earnestly. I could get a job in practice over there. And look at the wages, they're so much higher. You could open your own bakery, or you could study, or you could train to be anything you want. But I like working at the bakery. Yeah, I know you do. Liam puts his hand over hers. But it's barely more than minimum wage. We're both close to 30. If we're ever going to get a house or make something of ourselves, we've got to start working on it. And that, he gestures to his phone. I'm not saying I definitely want to go to America, but maybe we should start thinking about opportunities is all. But I'm happy here. I'm just saying we need to think about the future. What worked once might not work forever. They drop the subject. Jazz pokes at another bit of pork, and Liam keeps looking at jobs. Jazz watches the scroll of his phone like a boat sailing over the horizon. Jazz is tidying the bakery kitchen when she hears Marjorie say, "Sorry, we're closing up." And Liam's voice reply, "I just wondered if Jazz was here." She hurries into the shop, her smile fading when she sees Anna there as well. She's wearing a business suit and a coat that Jazz couldn't possibly afford. Her shirt buttons are currently done up, and annoyingly, this does not stop her being far too pretty. Anna's hands are shoved into her coat pockets like she doesn't want to contaminate them, and she's looking around the small shop curiously. "Hey babe," Liam says. "Thought we'd drop in quickly before heading out to dinner." Jazz smiles, weakly. Anna is asking Marjorie if she owns the shop. "Yep. Built the place up myself. Blood tears, butter and flour. Only tell people about the last two, though." Anna laughs. "I'm so jealous. I've wanted my own business since I was a girl." Marjorie shrugs. "Sure you'll get there at some point. Just work and grit. And a good accountant," Liam says. Anna punches him playfully on the arm. "Yeah, well, when you founded your firm, you can recommend me one from it." Jazz imagines herself at that point offering them coffee and lacing it with enough honesty extract to float a battleship, asking Anna point blank if she's trying to steal Liam away. Have her say yes, of course. Who wouldn't want him? And if the competition doesn't like it, maybe the competition shouldn't be a size 16. And in her daydream, she turns to Liam, who isn't saying anything, but is looking at Anna, as if he hadn't been considering it, but now he's heard it said. And maybe... "Anyway, we got to run," Liam says, dragging Jazz back to reality. He gives her a quick kiss over the counter. "I'll be back between 9 and 10. 10? Anna says, as she grabs his arm and drags him towards the door. "I'm taking him out for a glass of wine afterward. He just doesn't know it yet." After they've left, Marjorie says, "I don't know what you're worrying about. She's nothing like you." "Did you see her? Girl, I only had to speak to her for 5 minutes to see how much you don't have in common. If your boy was ever going to spend the rest of his life with you, he's not going to look twice at her." "But what if he's changed his mind?" "Nah. Don't change your mind over something like that." "But what if... And then it comes spilling out, taking the vials from the distillery, spiking Liam's food. giving him the drive and ambition that Jazz always thought he should have had. And she was sorry. She was so sorry. She knew she shouldn't have done it.
But it was working,
she says.
He was working out. He was thinking about our future. Stuff he just didn't care about before.
So you changed him?
I just wanted to help him.
I think you wanted him to make big money so you never had to worry about it. But sure, let's call it that.
That wasn't why I did it.
Marjorie shrugs. If you like. Doesn't matter. You dosed him up on ambition and work ethic, which, let's be honest, aren't your strong points. And then he met someone else who was naturally full of them, and you're worried he's attracted to them more than you. You're probably right.
But I didn't change that.
Yeah, you did. People aren't just piles of personality traits, they're recipes. Change how much of one ingredient is in there, it affects everything else. Any cook knows that, and any baker lives it.
But I'm still me. I'm still the person he fell in love with.
Yeah, but he's not the person who fell in love with you anymore. You don't need to worry about her because she's pretty. You need to worry about her because she's smart and curious and ambitious. And you made him really like all those things. He ain't run enough with her tonight, but you're fighting a losing battle on this one.
No, that's not right. People change all the time. That's just living.
Sure. But normally their other half is changing with them. Jazz sags.
This wasn't what I meant to happen.
I know. That's how it goes. Marjorie pats her on the arm. You're fired, by the way.
What?
You just admitted stealing from me. Marjorie shrugs. I don't know how you thought that would go. Jazz sniffs. She can feel tears that she doesn't want to show as she takes off the apron with the little M&T logo embroidered in the corner.
I know your recipes,
she says.
Maybe I'll open my own bakery.
Marjorie lights another cigarette. Nah, you won't. And Jazz knows she is right. Liam gets in at 10:05. They share a short conversation about the lecture and a quiet cup of tea. They go to bed, and Jazz runs her hands and lips over every part of him, as if trying to work out how to describe the taste of him in Braille. She does not mention that she lost her job. When they roll over, Liam sleeps. Jazz lays awake, feeling the warmth of him next to her, trying to imprint the memory while she still has time to do so.
Modem Prometheus is written by Neil Murton. The voice of the city is Gina Sneesby, with music and production by me, Tris Oaten. For free merch, bonus episodes, and behind-the-scenes content, support us at patreon.com/Modem Prometheus. If you're not ready for that kind of commitment, please rate and review us on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you're listening to this right now. Next month's story is due on the stay-home moon, the 3rd of January, or for patrons today. Be careful in the cafés. You are what you eat.